This is Hidden Killers Week in Review.
A look back at the most prolific stories of the week.
Welcome to the podcast. If you'd like to listen to an ad-free version of this episode and all of our episodes, then search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. That's our premium channel where all of our ad-free and advanced episodes live, all in one place. True Crime Today Premium Plus. Search it on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. Even try it for 3 days free.
The blood washed away, but the guilt never does. Welcome to Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski, featuring psychotherapist and author Siobhan Scott.
Luigi Mangione, the man behind the shooting of UnitedHealthCare CEO Brian Thompson, in court over the holidays and now going into the new year. We're going to see more hearings, preliminary hearings, and I'm sure many status hearings as this moves forward and as evidence is introduced. Joining me to discuss, author Siobhan Scott and psychotherapist. She's the author of the book, The Minds of Mass Killers. Now, Luigi obviously was not a mass killer, but certainly seemed like he could have been on the path to doing so. Do you think he would have kept going had he not been caught? Is this one of those characters that would have just never really stopped?
Yeah, my guess is he at least had in his mind formulated a hit list. And I think he thought he was going to get away with it. He was smarter than everybody and, had his plans in operation. And I think that's why he kept the gun, because he was going to use it again. So, and again, we look at people like Ted Kaczynski, who had a cause. He went for years, with his random attacks, even though he used explosives. It was the same kind of, look what I can get away with thing.
Obviously, we haven't heard a lot directly from Luigi Mangione since the attacks anyway. But there's been some writings online and things of that nature. We've been getting a much clearer picture of who he is. What's been your take on this? I mean, initially it was, is he mentally ill? Is there a personality disorder here? Is it just his way of thinking and he just fully believes everything? As we've seen his actions more in court, at least visually, he does present in a very interesting way, I think, just physically watching his interactions. Very dramatic, very, like his face is almost like he's acting in a really bad play. He's like over the top on everything. What's been your take? What's been your observations on this man from a psychological standpoint, over the last few weeks that we've seen him coming in and out of court?
Yeah, he sees himself, I think, in a very grandiose way and, this avenging hero. And he probably would meet, not everybody who commits mass murder is officially mentally ill. Many are, but certainly not everyone. He probably would qualify as a narcissist, and his self-aggrandizement, I think he probably loves the attention, loves the camera, and it's clearly his look at me moment. And it's just wonderful that he was stopped before he took out more people.
Let's talk about the societal impact from this. We're now, it's been about more than a month since this took place. Initially, the reaction, it was him of being a very heroic person by a good chunk of society.
Yeah.
And there's certainly another half, hopefully a more sane half, that goes, no, this is not a good guy. This is not somebody, to be celebrated here. This is not how we can live in a society. Certainly there's problems. There's serious problems in the healthcare system. It is beyond broken. It is a criminal system. It is not good, but you can't go in and do this sort of thing. But the thing is, society's still sitting here. He's still a hero in many people's eyes. I guess what does that say about the world we're going into here at the beginning of 2025, where this guy is being looked at, as a hero with a system that does need a lot of fixing?
Yeah, it's really alarming. I'm still seeing buzz online with, women, talking about how handsome he is. And, this brings out the hybristophilia, the term for women who fall in love with the bad guy, who try to rescue him. And I'm sure he's getting letters to that effect at this point, which we'll probably hear about down the road somewhere. It's alarming that people fail to see the potential for, again, copycats and opening the floodgates for more violence. And they just don't seem to see it. And I wonder about the critical thinking here, because as you and I have said, if it's okay with this one situation, what are we going to do? Take out everybody who's involved with the liquor industry or tobacco or other things that end up harming people and causing death? It's like, where's the line and where do you stop once you cross it?
Well, I think it's kind of one of those things where, I mean, we're in that world where anyone can kind of become self-radicalized and find, big groups that support it. I mean, there are huge groups online about the healthcare industry, how people have been screwed over left and right. And there's just, it's been met with deaf ears. I think that's the public perception of it. And I think it's very real of the healthcare system doesn't care. The healthcare industry doesn't care that you don't like them. Because at the end of the day, they're still going to make their money and you can't do anything about it. I mean, you can if you get your legislators involved and vote for the right people that will actually take this on and handle it. Sure, that's how we handle it, but we don't. And then that's where you end up with a system that gets broken for such a long time. You have such a backlog of human beings that have been damaged by it. Then you do get these vigilante characters. You don't necessarily have the same things on other issues. So you got some, but healthcare is certainly one of the bigger that there are communities online that people commiserate on all the misdoings that they've had done to them. So I suppose you could have anybody get radicalized in anything, but healthcare is one where I don't see this ending. And honestly, not trying to be super pessimistic here, but I'm honestly surprised there hasn't been more violence against people in the healthcare industry, considering a lot of people die unnecessarily because of the lack of care that they get that they're expecting they should get, or loved ones care that they don't get, and then people die for unnecessary reasons.
Yeah, and if everybody writing about Luigi would take all that time and energy and write their legislators or call their legislators' offices and say, we need action on this, that would be a groundswell, that I think would have an impact in a productive way. Because, you're right, shooting the CEOs, they're just going to appoint another CEO and continue to take their money to the bank. So it's not an effective methodology, and it's just a tragedy. And the guy is loving the attention.
It's certainly disturbing. Another one you can't quite get in the mind of completely, but when you understand that type of a mindset, I mean, it could have been anything. I think that if he felt he would be radicalized and look like the hero for whatever cause and whatever was going to be the easiest, he probably picked it up. The big question still is, how did he know that CEO was going to be right there at that time? Was somebody else involved in this? Or was it just random timing? I don't know. That's a big question in a lot of this.
Yeah, he's a smart guy, and I think that made him potentially incredibly dangerous. If he hadn't have pulled his mask down when he was flirting with the young lady in the hostel, he would still be out there. So that was a mistake of his ego.
Welcome to the podcast. If you'd like to listen to an ad-free version of this episode and all of our episodes, then search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. That's our premium channel where all of our ad-free and advanced episodes live, all in one place. True Crime Today Premium Plus. Search it on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. Even try it for 3 days free.
You're in the thick of a true crime saga, every detail sinking in, and then, wham, a commercial about something you couldn't care less about. It's like being served a microwaved dinner at a 5-star restaurant. But it doesn't have to be this way. Go for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. With True Crime Today Premium Plus, you get uninterrupted, ad-free episodes, extended interviews that dig even deeper into the muck, and early access so you can brag to your friends. It's like ordering the secret menu at a crime buffet. So, search for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, and savor every twisted detail without interruption.